In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your valve cover on your Ford Focus. It's located under the hood. Take off your battery lid here. You can remove this as well if yours is loose. Disconnect your negative battery terminal first using a 10mm socket. Just make sure you don't touch your positive as you do that. After you loosen it, there we go. Put that off to the side. Remove your connector by pushing it on this tab and pulling. Using an 8mm socket, we're going to take out this bolt. Next, we're going to turn this and pull it out. Remove your connector. Push down on this white tab to unlock it. Push down and then pull out. Using an 8mm socket, I'm going to remove this bolt. Pull out your coil, remove your next coil. Make sure you keep these in the same order you took them out. Unlock your locking tab and remove your connector. Now you pull up on the coil and remove it. Remove your next connector. You might need a flathead screwdriver once in a while if it's stuck. Again, use an 8mm socket and remove your last coil. Remove this cap, this cover, it's a little rubber cover. Underneath is going to be a connector. Go in with your flathead screwdriver, push it on the tab, and remove your connector. So you got to push it on this tab and pull it out. Set that aside. We're going to remove our other connector over here. Remove this bolt using an 8mm socket. Remove the bolt, twist this slightly, and pull up on it. Set it aside. Remove your connectors. Push down on the purple part and pull. Set it aside. Do the same on this top one. Now we're going to remove our harness from the valve cover bolts, the studs. So you're just going to pull up. There's one in the back corner here. I'm also going to remove it from the intake. Remove this harness underneath this line from the stud, just so it's loose. We're going to remove this now. We're going to push in. There's a tab underneath. So put your finger underneath and push it, and then you're going to pull that off. Using an 8mm, we're going to take off this bolt for this bracket holding the line, the fuel line. Remove your oil dipstick. And now we're going to take our valve cover bolts out. You're going to need a long socket and an 8mm. Take out all your bolts. I'm going to go crisscross. Now we're going to remove the ones in the middle. You're going to want to spin this bracket over this way and get it off the valve cover. Now we're going to gently remove our valve cover. You may need to pry up on it a little bit. I'm using a plastic trim tool just because it's aluminum and I don't want to dent anything. It's going to take a bit of prying to get this unstuck from the silicone and also to get it out of here with those seals. So once you get it unstuck, you're going to take it out. Be careful when removing the valve cover that you don't disrupt the fuel lines over here. I'm going to leave mine intact. I have my harness on top of this steel line now, so I have enough clearance to get everything out. But you should be able to get it out without removing that line. All right, once you get it removed, you're going to have to remove your gasket as well if it's still stuck to the engine. Remove your gaskets in the middle as well. Make sure you put a rag where you're working so nothing falls in. It'll make cleanup easier. And you're just going to go around the edge and clean up where the gasket meets. I'm using a plastic razor blade, and that's going to clean up all the debris. If you have anything tough, you can use something a little more, but just be careful not to gouge the aluminum surface. Then push away from the engine when you are cleaning. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone on your seams. After you apply this, you have about 10 minutes to put the valve cover on. If you take longer than that, you got to start over. Make sure you apply a silicone gasket here, here, a little bit here, and a little bit there. Your gaskets are already installed on your valve cover. So now let's feed it through underneath the wiring harness and install it. If you're having trouble getting your valve cover on like us, you can put a little silicone paste right around this rim here and help slide this over your VCTs. Now we're going to start these by hand. Make sure they're all started before beginning your torque sequence. This is aluminum, so you don't want to force anything. You want to make sure it's threading in right. Now that we have tightened down, wrist tight, all the bolts, we're going to go ahead and torque. We're going to torque them to 89 inch-pounds. Put your dipstick back in. Now we're going to turn our fuel line bracket so that it's lined up with its bolt hole. Adjust your bracket for your fuel line, line it up, and get your bolt started. Once you snug that up, you're going to torque it to 89 inch-pounds. Now we're going to connect some connectors over here. Make sure they're locked in, and we're going to put our harness onto the studs and make sure everything's in position where it needs to be and lines up. Connect this one in the middle here. Make sure you hear that click. Insert the shield on top. Place these on the studs and just work your way over. This harness needs to go below this fuel line. We moved it out of the way. And it also needs to go on the other side of the valve cover so you can get your cam sensor in there. After we get our cam sensors in there, we'll set that up better. Let's put our hose back on back here. Just push it on. Make sure it's locked in. And we're going to start putting our ignition coils in and our 2 cam sensors. Put a little dielectric grease in there. Not a ton, just a little dab. And insert your coil in the hole. Push down. Make sure it's seated properly. And you can get your bolt started. You're going to torque this bolt to 89 inch-pounds. After you're done, you're going to plug the plug in and lock it in place. Do the same for the rest. You're going to put your cap on. Make sure it's all the way. And now let's put our cam sensor in. Apply some dielectric grease in there. Very small amount. Place your coil in, press down, and put your bolt in. You're going to be torquing this after you snug it up to 89 inch-pounds. And plug it in. Hear the click, lock it in. Put a little oil on that O-ring. Insert it into the hole. Make sure it's seated. And tighten your bolt. Torque this bolt to 53 inch-pounds. Now you're going to plug it in. Make sure you hear that click, and it's secure. Put some oil on your O-ring. Place it in the hole. Make sure it's seated in there properly and it's flush with the valve cover. You can get your bolt started, and then we're going to be torquing that to 53 inch-pounds. Plug it in. Make sure it's all the way down before tightening it. You may have to shimmy it down. Now you can tighten it. sure it doesn't move. Looking good. Push the big black cable down into this little slot. And now let's put our cover on. Put your cover together. This flap goes in there. And slide it in. And snap it in.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.